What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Tank be Choppin, and I'm coming at y'all with another haircut tutorial. Alright, so what we finna do on this cut is just we gonna fade up the sides. He wants to keep the curls on top. We're not touching the top at all. We're basically gonna be doing an undercut, so let's go. So what I'm actually finna be doing first is I'm actually gonna be parting the hair. Like I said, he is getting an undercut. He's letting the curls hang over it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just parting the long hair from the short hair. It probably would have made it easier if I like put some water in the hair, you know, if I actually wet it and saturated with water and then parted it. But for whatever reason, I just didn't do that. But I'm still getting the job done. As you can see, I'm still parting it. I'm putting my duck clip in to hold that long hair up. And I'm doing this on the other side as well. And I did clip the back. I didn't show it, but I did clip the back also because he did have, you know, longer hair in the back also. Want to clip all that up, and now I'm taking my number 2 guard. I have my lever open, and I'm coming up to, you know, basically where the short hair meets the long hair, and I'm just fading up, and I'm just gliding that clipper up and out. I'm actually not pushing too much into the head. I'm really just trying to keep a little bit of, I'm actually trying to keep a little bit of bulk right there. That way the curls have something to lay on top of. So now my lever is closed, and I'm basically doing the same exact thing coming right below where I just did with the 2 open. Now I'm taking my 1.5 guard with the lever open. And as you can see, I'm coming up right below where I just came, and I am flicking out, just trying to make sure I don't create a harsh line or any hard lines when I'm doing this. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but I am holding them JRLs in my hand. So I don't know if y'all saw my review on these guys. I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with these. Like, they are a real good clipper, but sometimes on some haircuts, it just takes me longer to fade. But for the most part, I can still get the job done, and I decided to do a video with these clippers. So now I'm just gonna be adjusting that lever as needed. I started with the open, came up, closed it, came right below that. And then I just adjusted that lever as needed, did some slight lever play to make sure I had some nice gradients, and just really just try not to create a harsh, too much of a line. So now I got my trimmers, my Babyliss FX, and we're gonna be doing a mid fade, and we are gonna drop the fade in the back slightly. And I am keeping that C-cup area a little darker, that way I can line them up and make sure that looks really fresh. So I am gonna be doing this in sections just because I realized that that's a little easier for me. So I'm just gonna bald out this side of the head first, and then I'm gonna do the other side of the head when I get to that side. Now I'm taking my shaver from Babyliss, and I'm coming up right below what I just did. Remember guys, we don't want to create a harsh line, so I'm not coming all the way up to that line, and I am flicking out and relieving pressure the closer I get to that line. Now with my JRLs, I got my lever completely open, and I'm creating my next guideline. So as you can see, this section, I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And I'm gonna follow that same shape that I created with my bald guideline. So I am dropping it in the back also. And I'm just gonna go over that a couple times. Just be really consistent with it and make sure all that is down to the lever open. And as you can see here, I just closed my lever halfway. You can't see the notches on this clipper, but I did close it 2 notches, so that is halfway. And now I'm coming about halfway up into that section, flicking out. And then I'm gonna close the lever 1 notch, come up right below what I just did, and then I'm gonna close it all the way and attack that bottom line. If the lever open just for some reason doesn't get that bottom line out, that's perfectly fine. We can always come back with the trimmers and just attack that bottom line and make sure we get rid of it. So remember guys, you want to make sure you keep a brush or a comb in your hand. That way you can keep combing down that excess hair and combing down or brushing away all that extra debris that you're cutting off. It just makes things easier when you're fading. Now I got my one guard on my clipper, my lever is open. And as you can see, I'm coming up to about that parietal ridge area, and I am flicking out with that clipper. You know, I'm trying not to create a harsh line. And in the process of not creating a harsh line, I'm also trying not to take this 1.5 or this one with the clipper open all the way up to that part, you know, where the long hair meets the short hair. Because like I said earlier, I do want to keep some weight right there. That way the curls have something to sit on. So we started with the one guard open, and then we actually closed the lever and adjusted it as needed. Basically, we're just flicking at that bottom line, trying to make sure this gradients come together and this fade really just pops out, and just, you know, the fade just looks good. Now I'm coming with my 1/16 guard. My lever is actually halfway open now. It's on that second notch. And I'm just attacking these dark areas. Remember guys, I don't use this 1/16 on my initial steps. I use it to detail, so that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm just detailing them dark areas and adjusting that lever open and closed to try to get rid of these dark spots. So now that that is done, I'm going back with my 1.5 guard. As you can see, my lever is fully open, and basically I'm just doing some more detail work. I didn't like the way the fade looked, you know, it still had some dark areas. It just still needed some work. So basically that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just touching up them dark areas, touching up them dark spots, just trying to clean this fade up. That way we can take this haircut to the next level. Coming back in with that number 1 guard, and I'm adjusting that lever as needed, using my barber's eye to get rid of these dark areas and these dark spots that I see. And now I'm just attacking this line with my clipper, no guard on there, adjusting that lever as needed. And here I am hitting that bottom line with that trimmer. Obviously, I still seen a dark line in there from the initial bald guideline that I'm trying to get rid of. Once again, your boy's doing some more detail work. Sometimes you just gotta detail more times than other guys. Like sometimes it just takes you a little longer to detail the cut, and that's perfectly fine. You gotta do what you gotta do to make sure your clients are happy and these haircuts come out nice. So now I'm putting that C cup on the lineup, making sure that's nice and sharp. So normally I would do the edge up in the front, but the reason why I didn't is I just didn't have the hair clips put in the front to keep everything out the way. So I just said, you know what, let me do the other side of this haircut, and then I'll actually do the front edge up at the very end. So I did speed up this clip, as you know, as you can see, I sped up the rest of this haircut just because I'm doing the same exact steps that I did on the other side. So I am taking my 2 guards, started with the lever open, came up, floating the clipper up and out, just trying to get rid of the bulk. And now I got my 1.5 guard, lever open, coming up right below that. And then I'm gonna close that lever and I'm gonna come right below that. So I'm basically doing some slight fade down work, you know what I'm saying? Just doing that before I actually start to bald them out. But I really hope y'all liking this content, guys. I'm trying to be more consistent with these haircut tutorials and these videos. I've been recording a lot more than normal. If I have a little bit of extra time, I'm trying to see if my clients are okay with me recording them. I always ask my clients before I record the haircut, I always ask like, hey, is it cool if I go ahead and record this haircut for YouTube? 99.9% of the time they say it's cool, but I always like to ask just because, you know, I don't want to be rude and just start recording. You know, maybe they don't like being on camera or whatever. So I always ask just to make sure they're okay with it. So I'm not up there on that Chris Basio level yet. You know, he's doing free haircuts for YouTube. I'm not on that level yet, so I'm still, you know, I still just charge my regular prices. However, I do like doing these YouTube cuts. So if you ask me like, hey, Do you mind recording the cut? Obviously, I'm gonna take a little more time to make sure I record it, because recording these haircut tutorials does take a little longer. You gotta move the camera around. You gotta make sure you're not in the way of the camera, and that is a little more difficult than just cutting the hair, but it's something I like to do, so, you know, and I like doing it to put this content out for y'all guys. But anyways, that's enough of me talking. Let's get back to this cut. As you can see here, the fade is already coming together. I got my number 1 guard on there. Now I just switched to my 1/16. Lever halfway open. I'm just adjusting that lever as needed to get rid of these dark spots. And just a heads up, I did not record the back of this haircut. I thought I did, but I guess the camera just wasn't recording. I don't know if I accidentally pressed stop. But yeah, I didn't record the back, but I just want y'all to know that I did the same thing on the back that I did on both sides. And I just tried to make sure that this haircut just, that the fade just blended nice together from the sides to the back. Most of the time, guys, on these haircuts, for whatever reason, the right side is a little easier than the left, and it might be just because I know more or less of what the hair is gonna do, or maybe I just move a little quicker on the right side than the left. But yeah, most of the time when I do the right side of the haircut, it comes out easier than the left side does. So here I am with the trimmer doing some small detail work, trying to get that bottom line out. And now I got my 1.5 guard, transitioning the side of the haircut to the back. As you can see, I'm just fading that up. Now my number 1 guard. Now we're throwing that C cup. And I don't know, man, I think this fade's looking pretty blurry. Y'all let me know what y'all think, guys. So now, as you can see, I clipped up the hair that he has on top to get it out of his hairline's way. And I'm coming with that 1.5 guard, and I'm actually coming with the grain just to trim all that down, just so it looks a little cleaner when I actually line them up. Now I'm throwing that line up in the front, making sure it's nice and crisp. So remember, guys, I always make my first initial guideline with the hairline in the middle of the edge up, and then I work my way to either side. Just depends on what side I'm working on at that time of the cut. So now we finna razor everything up. Basically, we just going over everything we did with the trimmer, making sure it's nice and crisp, trying to get them lines as sharp as possible. And yes, I am still one of them barbers that uses shaving cream. I just think there's nothing really that matches up to it. A lot of people say the shave gel works good, which it does work good, but like I said, I just like the shaving cream. Now we're adding some enhancements on them to make sure we take this haircut to the next level. And we're just spraying a little bit, not too much. We still want to make sure it looks nice and natural. Alright, guys, this is the cut. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut down in the comments. If y'all like this haircut, make sure to smash that like button. Also, if y'all new to my channel, make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. I got more content coming, guys. Make sure y'all stay tuned. I appreciate y'all, YouTube. Until next time.